from Dunkin' Donuts.
I mean, this is like I said, and this is,
Prednisone.
All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Today, we have Pastor Ann Grandel of the Gulf Shore Church for the invocation. Thank you for coming this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Heavenly Father, looking back over this year, we are so thankful for your guidance and protection. We are especially grateful and relieved that we were able to breeze through this storm season without any major events. We invite your presence here, Lord, to guide our leaders and staff on all decisions they need to make in this last meeting for 2025. Unify our council, giving them keen insight into the economic and cultural impact of their decisions. We especially ask that you give them rest, peace, and some unexpected joy over the holidays so they can start the new year refreshed and refocused. Protect all who will be traveling, especially those streaming down our way for the Florida sunshine. Give our year-round residents patience with the increased traffic, focusing instead on the additional revenue generated for our region. During this season, may we remember how blessed we are, not just with the things we have, but with that which is irreplaceable: family, friends, and health. Help us to reach out to those who are feeling alone at this time. And we pause now, asking you to bring your peace that surpasses understanding to all those who have lost loved ones in the recent tragedies here in the USA and throughout the world. In unity, we ask all of this in the name of your Son, Jesus, and for your glory. Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call.
Councilmember Bogas.
here.
Councilmember Carr. Mayor Gibson.
Here.
Councilmember Corey.
Here.
Councilmember Fullick.
Here.
Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Purdon.
I hear he's a few minutes out.
Okay.
All right. Do public comment on agenda items, not the zoning items, so just regular agenda
We
items.
do have one speaker slip, Dwight Esmond.
Good morning, Mayor, council members, staff. For the record, Dwight Esmond, Paradise Road area. I want to talk about ADUs. Community Development did a great job of putting together the green sheet for you all. It outlines the current situation of ADUs in the city and gave you the attached Senate bill that will require them. And all of you should have got an email from me where I summarized the important points of that bill as I see them. It would seem that the current Senate and House bills are identical. A lot of legalese, so don't quote me on that. So they won't get bogged down in committee like they did last year over a difference of a minor issue. And surprisingly, they have bipartisan support. Apparently, there's a current state law, the one that's going to be replaced, that encouraged cities to permit ADUs on single-family zone lots. And it even allowed you to set an affordable rental rate. This new law changes that, but it does at least require a 30-day minimum rental. This new bill will require you to permit ADUs, so the question is, how do we regulate them? It expressly allows local governments to regulate the permitting, construction, and use of ADUs with specified exceptions. And does anybody know what that means? I don't. Bonita Springs needs housing for its workers who work here in Bonita. We need it for it to be affordable because they're minimum wage workers who take care of us old retirees. So how do we get a homeowner to offer workforce housing rental rates? I think the first step is we encourage the state legislature to put back in the new bill at least the ability to set a rental rate. We may also be able to offer incentives for any homeowner who wants to build an ADU and agrees to rent it at a stated workforce housing rate. There are also some concerns that these ADUs will become high-priced seasonal rentals. Can we make the minimum rental term longer? Or do we even want to? because it will bring in more well-off seasonal visitors and provide homeowners with a higher monthly return on their investment. I do think we want to encourage the homeowner who builds an ADU to rent it at a workforce rate, and I have some ideas on how we can encourage that, and I'll be happy to share them with you. I just don't want to waste your time, so if you're interested, you can contact me. I suspect you want answers from John and Jackie and Derek and Arlene and Matt rather than me. In my email of November 19th, I gave you all a long list of ideas on what I think we should do. But for now, I have a simple request. Adopt the same basic regulation that we have for all areas of the city that we have downtown, except for the parking resolution.
Thank you.
I'll cut it short. That's it for now. Let's just get it done. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment about regular agenda items? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to ceremonial presentations and proclamations. Chris, can you come up front, please? Anytime I've ever had a question, he's always been very knowledgeable. Just an awesome guy to work with. And I know he does a great job.
My apologies.
You do a great job, and I appreciate everything you do for the city and the residents of our city. So just want to give you this 20-year service award. Thank you.
Congratulations, Chris. And author Stephen Covey once said that strength lies in a quiet character. This simple idea perfectly captures the career built not on recognition, but on consistency, integrity, and doing the right thing each day. If you don't all know Chris, he's one of the quiet, calm amongst that you want standing right next to you during the storm. So 20 years is an extreme and wonderful dedication you've made to the citizens of Bonita, and we appreciate everything you do. Emergency management requires this same quiet strength, evident during the many moments of crisis we've experienced together throughout the years, as well as making difficult decisions and commitment to your job, your responsibilities, your professionalism, and your resilience. And your deep sense of community to Bonita Springs. So congratulations on 20 years. Thank you for serving side by side with me. Some of you don't know, Chris is one of the best cooks I know, so please enjoy some steaks from your friends at City Hall.
Wait, a picture.
All right. Item 7, public hearings. Mike?
This is the first reading of ordinance number 26-01, which is an ordinance of the City of Bonita Springs, Lee County, Florida, extending the territorial limits of the City of Bonita Springs, Florida, by the annexation of unincorporated tracts of land owned by Seagate Ravana, LLC, Good Enough Farms, LLC, and Wendy L. Thiel, lying contiguous to and being in the same county as the city of Bonita Springs, Lee County, Florida, located in section 33, township 47 south, range 26 east, totaling approximately plus or minus 189.5 acres, providing for assignment to City Council District 6, providing for existing future land use and zoning designations remain unchanged until changed by city, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Morning, Mayor and Council. Don't worry, I'm not going to present, but just wanted to kind of walk you through this particular item. This is the first reading for several items. Once we get into January, we're going to have annexations, comprehensive plan amendments, both map and text, and zoning applications for this particular property that are going to come before you. We were supposed to have Mr. Theriak, Special Land Use Counsel, on the phone today. He texted me this morning, said he is going to go get a flu test because he feels awful, so he will not be here. I just want to kind of recommend that maybe if there are some questions or some thoughts that you have, we can provide those to the applicant today, but there are not going to be presentations like there normally are during the first reading because we're going to bring those all together for the second reading. Mr. Fegon's going to be up here in a second. He's going to walk you through each of these applications, give you a little bit of background on each one, so that way procedurally we'll all be on the same page come January 17th? 21st, yes. Now we're all on the same page. And we'll be ready to go then. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Mayor,
Oh,
briefly,
sorry.
If we're gonna do the annexation and the zoning, we might as well read both titles, because I believe Mr. Fegon's presentation is gonna be on both.
This is the first reading of a zoning ordinance of the city of Bonita Springs, Florida, rezoning approximately 204 plus or minus acres from the Industrial Plan Development IPD and Agricultural AG-2 zoning designation to a mixed-use plan development MPD zoning designation to develop up to 299 residential dwelling units and 100,000 square feet plus or minus of commercial uses and to request 8 deviations located at 14240, 14450, 14650, 14700, 14820, Bonita Beach Road Southeast, and other adjacent properties located in Section 33, Township 47 South, Range 26 East, Bonita Springs, Florida 34135, providing for an effective date.
Good morning, everyone. Mike Fegon with Community Development for the record. As John had said, we're just really going to take this time now to just sort of walk you through essentially the coming attractions and give you a timeline of how we got to this point and what to expect going forward. In addition to myself, you do have Alexis Crespo here representing the applicant. So if you do have questions or items that you would like to bring up for consideration between now and the second hearing, we do have Alexis here to be able to take note. I'm here, John's here. So with that, it really does start with the annexation. So in terms of what you're going to see first in the second reading, it's going to be the annexation requests. This is a total of 9 properties spread out between 3 separate annexation petitions. And if approved, this would allow the entire Rivanna Lakes project that's proposed to take place entirely within the jurisdictional boundaries of Bonita Springs. So that's why the annexation component is key, and that's why it would need to occur first on your timeline when you hear this at second reading. So this is going to give you an idea, more of a visual representation. The properties that are in orange are located within the city. The properties that are in blue are the ones that are part of the annexation requests that are going to be coming before you. That yellow outline boundary is the overall Rivanna Lakes property boundary. So you can see how this is a very necessary step. And again, this does need to be the first step. And staff is going to break it down even further for you at second reading in terms of which annexation application you should approve first, should you approve, and then second, and then third. And that is because Florida statute is very picky when you do annexations, that you don't create what's called an enclave, which is essentially a single parcel or area that is surrounded by a different jurisdiction. So there is a specific way that we're going to go ahead and do this for you at second reading. And it's going to look something like this. It's going to, again, there was 3 separate petitions. The Good Enough Farms petition, the Thiel petition, and also known as the Seagate petition is the third one. sort of dovetailing into that is going to be the comprehensive plan changes. You've already heard those changes back in October where you voted to transmit those proposed amendments to the state. The reason why that's going to come next is because once a property is annexed, it retains its Lee County future land use unless it's assigned a different category. So that petition that came before you back in October was to assign this property a different category, a category of the Urban Fringe Community District and the Resource Protection Future Land Use categories. So those will come next in your timeline on the 21st. So it's going to be the 3 annexation petitions, followed by the text amendment and the map amendment to the future land use map of the city of Bonita. Thirdly will be the zoning, but it'll also be coming to you on the 21st because this is going to count as the first reading for their zoning petition. And the zoning petition is where you will see the master concept plan. There is a copy of it in your packet that shows how they're proposing to lay out the site, where the commercial components are going to go, where the access ways are going to go, the preserve areas, the open space, so on and so forth. For those of you who were watching, the zoning petition went before the zoning board yesterday, and it did receive a vote favorable of 5-2. So the zoning board recommendation is to approve the zoning portion of the project. So that's really all I have for right now in terms of timeline. It's just understanding what's going to be coming before you, and in the order it's going to be coming before you, which needs to be very precise. So that's what I have for you. I don't know if John has any closing comments.
Just one thing in closing. I know that several of you heard that the state has provided some comments back to the city stating that this text amendment is not consistent with Senate Bill 180, which, as we all know, is preventing us from making more restrictive land use regulations. Privately sponsored amendments are supposed to be specifically excluded from that review. Special Counsel Theriak is in an attempt to contact the state to work through this issue. At this point, either that issue will be addressed by the 21st or it won't be. If it's not addressed by the 21st, we will work with the applicant to figure out a new timeline on how to handle this. I don't expect there to be a negative result on this just based upon how that statute is written. However, the state does what the state does, and we will react accordingly. So just so everybody understands where we are in this process, at this point there's no reason to change the timeline. There's no reason to expect any additional issues, but you never know. So just as a heads up.
Were there any questions or comments for consideration of staff or the applicant at this time?
Jim?
Yes, thank you, Michael. In reviewing the 86 or 87-page document that we received as part of this meeting today,
Just some light reading, yep.
yes, there are some, I'll say, inconsistencies or differences between the zoning document and certain discussions, and also that of the mixed-use documents. I talked to John yesterday, and just real quick, primary concerns, one, the timing and that development of the commercial site and the related traffic control. There's a variety of inconsistencies that have been discussed both publicly and what is contained both in the zoning versus the MPD. Cell service, we talked originally about a cell tower that would wind up being at the back of the property, and it's now at the front of the property. Again, this is something that I have no problem following up between now and the second hearing. The public trail, two different discussions as to how it's being approached between zoning and the mixed-use planning document. Probably the biggest one that I have that needs thought and clarification between now and the next meeting is related to the Kiel Canal. It references the cleanup, the ongoing maintenance, and last time I recall seeing pieces of that, this is going to be a work effort. So my curiosity is, one, to clarify in both documents this cleanup, the initial cleanup, the ongoing cleanup, and how the ongoing maintenance of the Kiel Canal is going to be approached as well as funded. So those are probably the key things that from my end, I'll sit down and review with you, Michael, and John, and appropriate staff on that, so we can have the discussions with the developer. There are also several things that were highly contentious when I first came into this role on City Council. And there are numerous references to a 951 extension. Shortly after being elected, this 951 extension was, for all intents and purposes, said no, not funded, isn't going to happen between now and 2050. I would be curious to know if that is in fact a fact that somebody is talking about that, funding that project. I want to know where it is. If not, I'd like it stricken from all discussion of 951. It creates a lot of angst and anger within the community. Secondly, there's a lot of statements that have been made regarding I-75 and its widening. I've been through this both in the presentations by the developer and with council, and that the discussion last received from a project manager this past August is that the initial public hearing in the sound evaluation meeting scheduled in August was postponed. It has not been rescheduled. The response from the project manager indicated that the timing to actually start beyond that, the PD&E and all that other good stuff, is about 1 year after those hearings. So the timelines that have been discussed in the panacea of a lot of the issues being cleared up by the time the development is finished, I just want clarification for the public record. Secondly, it is also a discussion formally in the response I got from FDOT regarding when the project gets started, is that the expansion and improvement of the Bonita Beach Road interchange is not part of the formal scope. So again, this is something that's been repeated on a number of occasions. If there is something that is counter to the facts provided by the project manager, I would like that please in writing. And then lastly, for public record, is that in light of this decision, I'm pleased by the actions of the MPO to formally start the funding process of the interchange at Bonita Beach Road. There's initially a funding of approximately $8 million for the first two phases of the project, the first of which, and that is scheduled to occur, just for the record, starting in the 2041 timeframe. So I just don't want to have any illusions created to all of a sudden issues with traffic being removed in the foreseeable future. Thank you.
Thank you. Jesse?
Yeah, just for historical perspective, just since I've been here and probably since before I was here, regarding the 951 extension component, it reminds me of a Jimmy Buffett song. It said, "Fins to the left, fins to the right, and you're the only bait in town." Okay, so literally the people on both sides of us want this, north and south, not us. We have never wanted it. We don't want it. But historically, Collier and Estero/Fort Myers have wanted another go-through. And we've always said no. We've used the DRGR and many other mechanisms to try to combat that from happening. But you know, there at one point was discussions about trying to get money from the state to try to figure out a study to see if it would be feasible or something along those lines. I don't know where that went, but the historical perspective is essentially we have been the ones who are directly affected by it, and we were the ones who have not wanted it, and the DRGR has been one of the things that we have used to kind of fend that off from the inevitability of it happening. And kind of getting even further back with the DRGR deal that was made that's currently going in, getting it, you know, making the deal we did to get half of the houses that we got there help with that too, because there's going to be less demand on that road now for that to happen. So yes, that is something that has always been there. Yes, there have been discussions and potential studies of how it could happen, but we've always, from the parts that we control and what we can control within our own, have traditionally not wanted that, and we generally don't bring it up and we don't talk about it because we don't want to bring attention to it.
Well,
so that was the historical from when I've been around. That's
right, and I appreciate that. And in following election, I did have the director of the MPO to come in and to specifically talk about that with the community. And if we were ever to do this, according to Mr. Scott, is that this would have been an initiative that last discussed in the 2005-2006 timeframe, would have taken it up Logan to Bonita Beach Road, up to Bonita Grand. And his basic comments, one, it's not on any of our list to do. It's not funded at any level. And in the discussions that are made in the presentation, it creates the assumption that the new path is up Logan and straight on the north end of the circle. So I guess since it's up in the air, it's not included, it's a point of angst within the community in terms of the homeowners, specifically in Village Walk and so forth, that it just creates a dialogue that I don't think is necessary.
I think the last we heard, the last one you just said of the two, that's what I believe Fred was saying when he was leaving. I think that's where it stood, was that it wasn't even the most logical thing to go through Bonita Grande. It was farther to go out north, out that way.
Well, actually, Fred wanted to go out around Bonita National and go out that way towards Lehigh Acres. And again, none of those plans have been formalized. None of those plans have been adopted. It's just a point of clarification, because I went through heck for about 2-3 months after election to kill the rumors that we're going to take 20, 30 odd houses in Village Walk to expand Logan Boulevard. So bringing it up, there's no real relevance to the development and doesn't provide any real value in terms of its boundaries of the development. But to have it referenced at least 1, 2, 3, 4 times throughout the documents, it's just something that I don't need that discussion point.
I don't know how the rest of you feel, but I mean, does taking that out change anything? I mean, if we take that out, I mean, okay, if that makes you feel better and it doesn't change anything, I don't really see a problem with that. I don't.
But I'm not proposing anything now. It's just more of a discussion point between 1 and 2.
So I think, the references to 951 in the applicant's package are made in the review criteria for its applicability to DRGR. The fact that 951 has been taken off the table by the MPO, and whatever alignment it may have had was done at a time before all the recent developments in areas like Estero and East County, that it's so vague as relevance to an alignment that it probably doesn't add or subtract to their criteria that they're trying to meet. So we probably ask that the applicant look at those references and if to the extent they're using those to support their application, I think what Councilman Fitzpatrick is saying is that 951 is such a remote possibility, especially in that alignment, that it's not relevant. And so I don't know what bearing it has to the application other than to cause trouble. If that's helpful.
Any other comments, questions? Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so both items are moving to the next meeting.
Should we hear from the public?
Because the second item is a zoning hearing, it would require a public hearing. If there's any members of the public.
Okay, yep, public comment on this item. Any public comment for Seagates Ravana? Okay. So hopefully the next meeting, as long as the other thing gets resolved. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Got a motion and a second? Roll call?
Councilmember Corey.
Aye.
Mayor Gibson.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Purdon.
Aye.
Councilmember Carr.
Aye.
Councilmember Bogas.
Aye.
Councilmember Fullick.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 9A. Oh, was there any comments on it, Jim?
Real quick, I know we're going to go ahead and refill the existing boards at this point in time. Do we have a approximate time frame that we're going to absorb the functions of both the Tree Advisory and the Historic Preservation Board?
I'll have an initial ordinance for that, probably, maybe by your January 21st.
So
So the,
this would occur sometime before the end of February, correct?
yeah, the idea being that at this point, we still haven't been able to get a quorum of the Historical Preservation Board. But the functions transferring, I think, require an ordinance change. I don't want to just
Okay,
do a resolution assigning duties.
okay, thank you.
So that would be 2 votes,
To-
probably January and
yeah.
February then.
And depending on the nature of the changes, it may have to go to the new board to look at for recommendations.
Okay. All right. So now we're at 9A. Mike?
This is the second reading of an ordinance of the City Council of Bonita Springs, Florida, adopting the 2025-2026 5-year Capital Improvement Program Annual Update, providing for legislative findings, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. If you have any questions, this is in regards to the state requirements that we adopt our capital improvement program. It's a part of the comprehensive plan requirements that be adopted by ordinance. There's been no changes since your adopted budget.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any comments, questions?
So we don't get our poker room on the roof? That's not part.
Room on-
I was just making sure. Okay, all right.
Jesse, somebody's gonna call.
I know. I know.
Yeah, it's been relocated to the basement, so.
Okay, got it. Much better down there.
All right, motion and second.
Councilmember Fullick,
Aye.
Councilmember Carr,
Aye.
Councilmember Corey,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Purdon,
Aye.
Mayor Gibson,
Aye.
Councilmember Fitzpatrick,
Aye.
Councilmember Bogas.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 10A, presentations. We have the Bonita Wonder Gardens. How you doing, Neil?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As part of the public-private partnership agreement for the Wonder Gardens program, we have a presentation, and we'll continue to provide these on a more regular basis as well. And then in the end, we'll be looking, I think the Wonder Gardens will be asking for some direction as they have a fundraiser coming up at the end of January, so that the fundraising activities they have are consistent with the goals of the City Council as well.
Thank you, and we're excited to give an update on some current projects, some that were completed, some that we're thinking of, some concepts. And it's all part of our Renew the Wonder. As you remember in the past, we came forward with a kind of a master plan and strategic plan to renew the wonder and do the renovations we need to make sure that we have a sustainable and future Wonder Gardens. So we'll get into some of the, let's see here. Figure out. There we go. This was an overview of really if the master plan, if and when it is completed, you know, what the whole site would look like at this point. I'll get into a number of different projects, but this will be, you know, really for future reference. And it was at the time when we did when we ended up doing the master plan, this was kind of snapshot in time of where we would put a lot of these different key elements. Now, of course, we are looking at some things you'll see. We'll talk about event building, where it is located here. Of course, right now, excuse me, it is in the floodway. So we'd be looking at moving that over to the other side of the lawn. So we're making some adjustments on that. One of the things that we want to do is to, and we're working with your staff as well, is we want to get an elevation survey to take a look at the whole property, because a number of the projects, we're going to need that. I've already reached out to a couple vendors to see if we can get that accomplished, because I think that's going to be a key component for really whatever we're going to do, because we are dealing with flood zones, floodway, and a few other key components that we really need to look at that. So there might be some movement of some of the items in here, and we'll keep you up to date on that. Now, one of the items that was just completed, that took several years in the making when I got here, was really had started construction and had to be restarted, was the Otter Grotto. And we completed this in August 2025. That's really the first phase of the otter exhibit. We brought 2 otters down, May and Ivy. They were transported down from Ohio, and they're doing fantastic. I can tell you the increase in visitation, as you take a look at that, October 2024, 2,100 guests. October 2025, we're over 4,503 guests. And usually you'll see with new habitats, new exhibits, new experiences, somewhere around 10% increase. This has been really, really popular. And as you can imagine, you come into the Wonder Gardens, and that's kind of the center of the Wonder Gardens. First place everybody goes to take a look. When that was, fenced off, it certainly had an impact on visitation. But you can see the 2 otters here, and literally the young kids that are coming to visit, that's their view right there. That's what they're seeing, and these kids are getting an opportunity to go ahead and put their hands up against their paws and really make a great connection there. So when you look at a lot of the projects that we're doing, we're looking at doing projects that are going to have that impact, have that connection. We want, and we call that like basically moments of wonder. We want to use the Wonder Guard to go ahead and connect with our visitors, to have those meaningful experiences, to keep this legacy experience going. And also, we're hoping that we're going to etch them in a way that they'll be better conservation stewards in the future as well. Let's see. One of the buildings we had talked about in the past was the need for an animal care center. Now, one of the things, we've had several different designs for this animal care center, and I think we're getting close to a design that is going to work for us and for our needs. One of the things is we look at for future accreditation by the AZA and the ZAA, what we will need, especially for the care and well-being of our animal collection, at the gardens, is going to be a center that we can, potentially have a surgery room in there. You'll see. I'll go ahead and switch over this. This is kind of a layout of what it would be. Is you'll see on the left side there's the quarantine and holding area. We need this building, even from a hurricane standpoint, for proper holding. I can tell you right now, holding is just basically, it's been in our offices, it's in staff, in their garage, in the bathrooms, with flamingos, everything. So this is something that is going to serve the Wonder Gardens for many, many years to come. And also, if you're bringing new animals in, you need to have that quarantine space as well, because you want to quarantine them before they go out with the collection that is out on habitat as well. Surgery room would be nice to be able to have that, a lab. The diet kitchen, you'll see there's a diet kitchen and office. That diet kitchen will probably take over that whole space between the diet kitchen and the office. We'll have an office for our curator and a break room and a work room for our zookeeper staff. One of the components with this is when we looked at, let's see, I'll go back. We'll go back up here. So you see the front of the building, we're still, we obviously have to take a look at, the height and the elevation, which we need to certainly comply with and everything. So you can see we do have, an ADA ramp on one side of the building. On the left side of that building, as you're facing that building, there would also be a ramp, which we couldn't put this in here, but that would go out into the gardens past our grand aviary. So you'd be able to come up that way as well, because in these windows, you'll see on the far right side, there's an observation window. You're going to be able to go ahead and watch the zookeepers making diets as well. That's very popular. Zoo in Green Bay, we had that, and it was really popular for people to go ahead and see what animals eat and see the complexity of the diet. Diets for all the animals. Also, there will be a component that we'll be able to go ahead and do some behind-the-scenes tours within that particular building as well. The upstairs will go ahead and provide administrative support for the Wonder Gardens. Those facilities currently, we're in the house in that little admin building in the back corner of the back parking lot right now, and we've got a lot of different things going on in there. What we like to do is eventually when we move the office spaces up there, we would then move our horticulture and our maintenance staffing over into that particular building in that corner. So we'll continue to repurpose it. We did look at this color scheme. This is one of the color schemes, you know, that we needed to follow for, you know, for the city of Bonita Springs, is to pick one up. So we picked this up. I don't know if this will be the exact color because I picked this out, and I really don't do well on picking colors out. So I'll leave others to do that. But this is kind of the look and feel, and you'll see what we did look to is to really kind of keep that theme and that feel like the front entrance as well, because you'll see the railings across the front. You know, that type of look and feel is exactly what you see out at the main entrance. So we want to go ahead and continue with that. Let's see. Here's another concept right now. You know, we haven't come forward with this yet. We're still working on the concept, but behind the tea house that's over by the main entrance building, on the master plan, there's a walk-through aviary. We did get funding. We got about $135,000 that was donated for a walk-through aviary. This particular aviary you see here, it's also a butterfly garden. This is up at the Franklin Stone Zoo up in Boston. So it's just kind of a look and feel. That way you can see what a kind of a geodesic dome would be. We wouldn't have those buildings that are on the front or anything like that. It would be, there would be basically some safety cages as you walk through. So you go in through one and the door closes, so that way obviously there's two containments for the birds, but then it would be all landscaped in a walkthrough. It would take into account some of the plant species and the trees that we do have there at the Wonder Gardens. We can build that right into it, but it'd be another experience that the visitors could get kind of up close and personal with the aviary experience. Let's see. Kinkajou habitat. Now we've got a number of old habitats and old areas there. As you can see on the left, that was more affectionately known as the turtle pits, because pretty much that's what they were. We had our aquatic turtles in those. There was 2 of those. We moved the turtles over to the filter marsh, so a much better area for there. And actually, we're looking at putting windows along the filter marsh so the little guys get an opportunity to be able to see a little bit better. Because everything, as you look at, I mean, not everything, but a lot of things out at the Wonder Gardens had these cement walls. So it's really difficult. You know, I mean, if you're in a wheelchair trying to see into all these habitats is tough, let alone if you're a little one. Everything was meant to pick the children up and take a look at. So what we ended up doing is we're going to repurpose this. We did have a donor that donated $40,000 to go ahead and put some caging, a large caging unit over the top. It would actually sit on the top of these, and we'd be bringing in, well, we do have them now, the kinkajous, Jack and Sally. Those are rescue kinkajous. They're a South American mammal. How they'll fit with the gardens will be unique too, because they're one of the few mammals. I mean, they really eat fruit, nectar. They have a real affinity for honey, but they're a pollinator as well. So, you know, a major pollinator when you look into Central and South America. So this will be a nice experience, but this is where you're just taking an old exhibit and really doing something with it. And I think it'll be an exciting experience. And that we have, let's see. Okay, the event building. Outside was a walk-through aviary. The event building, we did receive state appropriations for 1.3 million to do an event building. This, when we looked at the master plan, we desperately needed, really a 4-season building that is climate controlled to be able to hold, whether it's events, some classroom space, just a multi-purpose room that we could have with really, I would say more of a, like say an open room experience for visitors for a lot of different purposes. That also, we're looking at putting in a restroom, public restrooms on one side of the building as well. This would also open up to the special event lawn and have a deck around that. That will, of course, will increase, with our ADA compliant public restrooms. We'll have then restrooms on the other side of the gardens as well. But this would be also what we call, a non-admission revenue generator as well. Because it's important, whatever we're doing here is to make sure that we do have a number of these particular items like this in there to go ahead and make sure that the Wonder Gardens is self-sustaining. But this gives us a lot of different options. The thing that we have right now is, even with our education programming and, our summer camps, we virtually had to stop our summer camps simply because we do not have the space to have the children there, especially if we've got rain, we got lightning and everything coming in. So this gives us an opportunity to be able to use this on a multi-purpose way. Not only it could be weddings, corporate outings, but it could also be used as an educational classroom and special event area as well. So we're just starting the planning with this. The only thing that we did have completed with this was the concept. And we knew that we needed this general area. We are working with staff to go ahead and take a look at how that is going to fit in the Wonder Gardens, and especially, like I say, between the flood zone and floodway and everything, and how that's going to be positioned out there. But we're excited for this because this will provide much needed space for a variety of different things. Tortoises around the world. This is a renovation. We have the tortoises, and you can see there in the southeast corner of the Wonder Gardens. This particular area here, it's an older area. It needed some renovation. We did have a donation for around $30,000 to go ahead and renovate this. So there will be kind of a mural backdrop that will hide the backside of the billboard that is out there along the river and the bridge. That'll clean that area up. There'll be like a little outpost, and the outpost is for the tortoises as well, so that'll be a place for them for inclement weather to be able to go ahead and house them, and potentially from a hurricane standpoint as well. But that'll dress everything up. You can see we're taking into account, the different fencing and everything that you see there. I mean, we're going through the whole gardens, redoing fencing, signage, and all along the way too is also developing the infrastructure. We just put a well in, so now we have a well for the whole gardens, and that is operational. Flamingo Night House, another project. The flamingos, currently, they're in an area, they got just a small little metal shed. We have 2 right now. We would certainly like to increase that, but to be able to do that, we need to have the proper housing for the flamingos. We looked at doing this octagon structure that would provide really good housing for overnight, because with obviously any overnight with predators coming from up above, we want to make sure that they're secured in. This would sit along, you can see alongside the lagoon, which we think that will look, I mean, really nice in that particular area. Provide a nice photo spot as well as you're looking over. Actually, right now, if we move the event center over to the other side of the lawn, that would probably be the view that you're looking off of the deck over in that direction. So that, currently we're working our way through that process. Likewise, you know, we need that elevation out there to see how high we need to put this. And, you know, this isn't in the floodway, but it's in a flood zone as well. And we want to make sure that we got good height on that as well, because that is where the flamingos would reside, you know, if we had a hurricane as well. So that's going to be all set to be as hurricane proof as you can. And then at that particular point, we'll be able to look at bringing flamingos in. But then the old flamingo area, once that's taken out, what we want to look at doing there is we have an orchid plaza. And the Orchid Plaza was started. We have the first phase of that done. And that's next to the flamingo exhibit. What we would do is the Night House area has a pool. We would remove all that, and then we would just put a kind of a brick patio in there with some trellises, you know, kind of a gazebo-looking area, and that would be really a nice area for the public to go ahead and be able to sit in. Also a potential rentable space as well, but it would repurpose that, would fit well in the gardens, and we already have a donor for that. We have the funds for that. So that's just sitting there right now waiting. So we got to make the move with the flamingos over, and then we'll be good to go there. And let's see. Chicky Hut, that is sponsored by the Rotary Club of Bonita Springs Foundation. Right now with the project, the city is doing with the repaving project where the old barn area was. That's coming along fantastic. Right now, what we're looking at doing is, like I said, the Rotary Club gave us the funds for a 20 by 40 structure. So that would sit in the middle of that whole brick area. Another great area for people to gather. I mean, also it could be a rentable space as well, but it will take in it, you know, that whole area there needed a lot of work. I mean, it was, you know, we're taking a lot of the old areas out, having that look kind of up to date, but look more inviting as well. And this will also provide, you know, cover, you know, for rain as well. Education programming, and this is similar to the one that is, you know, behind the Historical Society. It's exactly the same. It's a 20 by 40 that you see there, and we're looking to get that up and going probably potentially within the next few days as well. So we want to make sure that we have everything ready to go for our 90th coming up. One of the other things that we're looking at doing too is, you know, we have all these tea houses, you know, we've got 3 that are along the river, and they're all aviaries at this particular point. But one of the things that we're looking at doing to kind of enhance the experience too is we're going to take one of the aviaries where we currently have pheasants in. We're going to change that up a little bit. It'll be an aviary as well, but we have a donor that provided funds for to bring sloth in, so that we would have a sloth encounter. So you'd be able to go in there and get an up close and personal experience with sloth. That's very popular right now, you know, in the zoo industry for a number of facilities. I mean, we got a perfect place for it, those tea houses. So, you know, a lot of this too is just kind of reimagining how to go ahead and use what we have, you know, in a better way, and to increase, you know, our animal welfare standards as well. And last but not least, we do have our 90 Years of Wonder celebration coming up. That's going to be January 31st. And then we also have February 1st, the Family Fun Day. I do have invitations here, if anybody would like an invitation. That should be a great event. and we'll get a chance to go ahead and the good thing is we'll have a number of these projects up and going. One of the things that, yes, we were going to be looking at is with the Animal Care Center is to be able to go ahead and have that concept brought up forward so the people there at the event, you know, for any potential donations and potential, obviously, donors that might be interested in that project and a number of the other ones. With that, I'll take any questions.
Any questions? Comments?
Sounds great. Very
Thank you.
exciting. Really exciting.
Mayor and council, if you're comfortable with each of the projects that were presented today, it'd be helpful to provide some direction so that when staff is coordinating with Neil, that we have the ability to move forward with permitting and review of those projects.
They all look great to me.
Yeah. Oh,
I think you've done a good job, and I'd like to congratulate you, Neil, and the board of the Wonder Gardens for all the work that has gone into this, and also acknowledge the cooperation and work of community development in terms of helping out with the permitting process, getting on board early in the process to give you things to look out for, things to think about. So I think we're all working this partnership very well together.
I will say that it's a great partnership, and it just keeps growing, and it's a privilege to go ahead and work on these projects with the city.
Kim?
Yes, Neil, great job. I want to compliment you and your staff on what you've done over the years. I think you've brought the Wonder Gardens to the point that the community is committed to this location. It's committed to the Wonder Gardens, and they're speaking not by the visitations, but also with their wallet. I want to thank the community that has seen the vision of the future, and God willing, they'll continue to support you for the years to come. Thank you.
Laura?
I just also want to thank all the donors who have stepped up beforehand, and because it helps you with the confidence in moving forward. So it's really wonderful, and it shows confidence in you and your staff.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you, Neil.
Thanks, Neil.
Thank you, everybody. All right. Mayor and council member items. First up, and also I would like to move 12A to just after this item here, since the Wonder Gardens is all here.
At the last meeting, we talked about a resolution naming the Cheeky structure as the Bonita Wonder Gardens, the Rotary Club of Bonita Springs Cheeky. So I would like to go ahead and act on the resolution that Derek has drafted on this.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and second. Any comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor Purdon.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Carr.
Aye.
Councilmember Bogas.
Aye.
Mayor Gibson.
Aye.
Councilmember Fullick.
Aye.
Councilmember Corey.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And just to clarify, that was the resolution on the naming.
Yep.
The next item for the mayor's direction will be the resolution. This is the resolution on the historic preservation. So the Historic Preservation Board has still been unable to meet. We have no timeline on when that's going to happen. I apologize for bringing you another resolution transferring powers. We're hopeful that we'll get them back on track before other items, but this is a one-time action that I'm asking the City Council to approve the special certificate of appropriateness in order to allow the demolition of the existing pole barn and the replacement with the Cheeky Hut on the same location at the Wonder Gardens.
Yeah, Mike Fegan for the record. Derek captured it nicely. There was a demolition permit that was approved for the old pole barn previously by the Historic Preservation Board. This Cheeky Hut is intended to go substantially in the same location, but due to lack of being able to get a quorum with the current Historic Board, they need the certificate in order to physically construct it, so that's why we're here.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call.
Councilmember Bogas.
Aye.
Councilmember Fullick.
Aye.
Mayor Gibson.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Purdon.
Aye.
Councilmember Corey.
Aye.
Councilmember Carr.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, item B. Chris?
Well, this is one with Jesse.
Go ahead, Chris.
Well,
Same spirit here, I think.
yeah, you know, we've been dealing with the Good Bread Building facade for some time, and the restaurant at the Wonder Gardens, and the question has come up as to do they merit being continued in their present form, or should they be torn down? Now, I will say that for the Wonder Garden, as you know, has had their parking limited because of the construction of the Baron Collier project across the street, so they could certainly use the space that that restaurant occupies for additional parking. The Good Bread Building, I think just is a facade, and it really doesn't fit in the area that it's at now. And if you look at what I think are the pictures of the Good Bread Building and the restaurant itself, they're in poor shape. And so there's been a lot of stuff on social media discussing people's thoughts about preserving historical buildings. And I just, after where it talks about historic preservation and public benefit, these are my thoughts. This is how I go about looking at it. And, the public benefit must outweigh the preservation cost. We have to have some reason to keep them other than just like a postcard in a scrapbook. Well, yeah, we can have postcards in a scrapbook, but I don't know that we need to be spending public money on stuff that is severely deteriorated or unsafe. So, I'm just in favor of taking this down because, one of the things I got was an email saying, well, the Historic Preservation Board's looked at, or the Historical Society has looked at over 600 buildings in Bonita Springs. Well, all I'm suggesting is we could perhaps use this as a framework to make decisions about how we're going to go forward on if they want to bring forward 600 buildings. Well, let's say, okay, well, here's the criteria we're going to utilize. It's just my idea, but I would hope we would direct staff to go ahead and take the steps necessary to at least make the Good Bread Building and the restaurant at the Wonder Gardens our first two takedowns of these deteriorated buildings.
No, I think you put out very sound reasoning.
Thank
on
you.
your green sheet, so.
It's not historical. We can't keep throwing good money after bad. So we just need to rip the Band-Aid off and just do this. We've danced around it for a couple of years, so.
Okay.
Agreed.
Nigel?
Yeah, and I think there's this misconception because of things put out on social media and not here in our meetings, that building, and loosely call it a building, the majority of that is not the historical Good Bread. It's a plywood facade. Maybe 20–25% of what's actually there is what's left of the Good Bread, which is deteriorating. So, whether it's the idea that that's what the Good Bread was, it's not. So we're not destroying something historical. This is not like our schoolhouse. This is just an eyesore. And I get more complaints about that building than anything else. I've never had anybody call me and say, boy, that's really cool that you have that downtown. It's an eyesore.
Jim?
Yes, a couple meetings ago, we talked about the broad brush scope of the Historic Preservation Preservation Board. And I think that what Chris has done here is an excellent foundation from which, when we look at updating and revising what makes a historic facility, that these should be used as a foundation for that discussion. So I wish we codified this somewhere, that when we get around to that discussion, that we use these in starting that discussion.
Thank you. Yeah, well, being on council when we fought to save the Good Bread Building, I think if we actually knew what condition it was in, it I'm sure it would have went the other direction. So I'm kind of sad that we moved it and just didn't take care of it back then, So, yeah, I'm fine with taking it down. And same with the restaurant building, so. I know a lot of people have fond memories of it, but as Chris alluded to in his talking points there, you know, you'll always have memories, but it's not really worth putting a lot of taxpayer money into saving a building that just most likely shouldn't be saved, so.
So what do you need from us, Arlene, at this point, or Derek at this point?
So again, this is another issue with the Historical Preservation Board. This would be, we'd actually have to put together demolition permits. That process would go to them. Sort of unlike the last item you just took action on, where the Historic Preservation Board actually voted to demolish a structure and already had a vision of what was going to go in there. I'd like to either wait till we can get enough members on the Historical Preservation Board to move it forward to them, or to permanently reassign those duties. So we've talked about maybe moving the tree board, some of those other land use decisions to this mega board. Another thing that, and I'm just putting this out there for conversation, we're renewing our hearing examiner contract as well. And I've amended that contract. It'll be coming back to you in January to add additional functions as necessary. So there could be another situations where we need temporary assignment. We can assign those to the hearing examiner. So we have a couple of options. Let me work with staff to see what's going to be the most practical, because to me it's a workload issue. How fast are things coming? And then we'll make the permanent decision that allows us to bring that forward as fast as possible.
And expeditiously.
I think it would be helpful if there was there should be clear direction to staff in the form of a vote to direct us to begin the process.
I motion that we go with Derek's latter choice. So a mega board is comprised, and that we definitely just demolish these two buildings as soon as possible. And then you kind of work out the other functions that might be assigned to the boards.
Second?
Motion and second. Nigel, you had a comment?
Yeah, it's going to be, when is the last time that the Historic Preservation Board had a quorum for a meeting? Sorry, Mike.
Probably 6 months ago. 8 months ago.
No problem. I believe it was September, October, somewhere in there. There's several times where we've tried to meet, but we've had, had a set schedule, and then something came up, and we weren't able to make it happen. I think it was September, October.
But these impediments were not by city or city staff, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Just point of clarification, I heard Councilmember Carr's recommendation, but is it to whichever course the staff seems most efficient for that, or is it?
I think that the course was to move it to the mega board as a permanent function. If there's an interim solution to either bring something back to you or to do it to the hearing examiner before those ordinances get adopted, I can look at that too. So, but I understand the council would like to move as quickly as possible on these issues.
Okay, motion and second. Roll call.
Councilmember Carr.
Aye.
Councilmember Corey.
Aye.
Councilmember Fullick.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Purden. Councilmember Bogas.
Aye.
Mayor Gibson. Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Item C. Nigel.
So basically, this is, we had discussed this, and we had received offers from the artist. He has agreed graciously to allow us to stagger out the payments, so we can only build one piece at a time. So we'll pay 50% upfront, and then we don't pay again until he delivers and installs the piece. Then the second one, which is Blue Water, same thing. So it's just basically 4 separate events instead of 1.
Okay.
If you want to, Mr. Mayor, it dovetails into this then allows us to finalize the lease agreement between the pieces being placed at Midtown, so that we're not giving these pieces away. They're on lease. These same 2 pieces will be in public domain as long as they're there, but we own them in perpetuity.
Okay. Laura, you had a comment?
Can these pieces be custom, or are they as photoed? I mean, I love his work. His work is great.
Laura, you've seen them. They came before council. We approved them. They are custom.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are the pictures of what,
The ones that the
Okay.
council approved, yeah, those are the ones that we're purchasing.
great job, thank you.
Motion to approve?
Second.
And, can we do one motion, or do we have to do two
One
separate?
motion to approve both is fine.
That motion to cover both items? Yep. Okay. Roll call.
Just to clarify, do you mean to cover
C and D.
11C and D?
Correct.
Oh, okay, yeah, sorry.
okay.
I thought you meant the two items in C. Yes, that's fine if you're ready to vote on both.
Ready.
Okay. Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Carr.
Aye.
Councilmember Bogas.
Aye.
Mayor Gibson.
Aye.
Councilmember Purdon.
Aye.
Councilmember Fullick.
Aye.
Councilmember Corey.
Aye.
Motion carries for both items.
All right. So brings us to E, the resolution confirming appointments made by me with advice and consent of council for the new, I don't know, should it be super board or mega board? Rooney keeps saying mega
Call
board.
it
but-
a super board and a stereo, so I would go with, the mega
Right.
board and a stereo, so I called super board.
All right, we'll go super board.
Big S,
Super mega, the super mega board.
big S on your shirt.
So I'd like to first start by thanking everybody that's on the current boards for their many years of service, especially Don Cola Petro, nearly 24 years. So coming up with the recommendation for the 7-member board was kind of tough. I spent a few nights watching old LPA and zoning board meetings, and we did have a couple. I know Jack Brown from the tree board expressed interest in being on the new board, and we also had a new application from Richard Dubois. Coming up with the 7 members, I had to choose 2 for a 1-year term, 2 for a 2-year term, and then 3 for a 3-year term, and then choose the chair. So going for the 2 1-year terms, I was looking at Daniel Doogie and Raymond Townsend. And then the 2-year term, Robert Lombardo and Linda Waterhouse. And then the 3-year terms, Steve Lohan, Jack Brown, and Ben Hershenson. I did have one question about moving Jack Brown off the tree board, because I guess we're looking at about a month and a half to finalize it. That's not going to affect anything with the tree board? Would they still have a quorum?
I don't think it would be moving, it wouldn't be moving them off until
He can
Until we okay. Okay, so that's my recommendation, and I'm, looking for advice from the rest of the council. And
Motion to approve? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, don't see any problem.
okay, did I say that I was looking at doing Ben Hershenson as the chair also? So, yeah.
Do you need a motion to approve it? Or?
Yes, please.
Motion
Motion.
to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Roll call.
Mayor Gibson.
Aye.
Councilmember Fullick.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Councilmember Corey.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Purdon.
Aye.
Councilmember Carr.
Aye.
Councilmember Bogas.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And I would like to do something for everyone for their years of service. So. All right.
So can you just summarize the people that were approved?
Yeah, so it was
Ben Hirschman is
Ben Hershenson,
chair.
chair, and they'll choose their own vice chair. Jack Brown, Steve Lohan, Linda Waterhouse, Bob Lombardo, Raymond Townsend, and Daniel Doogie.
Jack Brown, Steve Lohan.
Linda Waterhouse, Bob Lombardo, Raymond Townsend, and Daniel Doogie. You just want to see if I'll stumble over these names a few more times.
Absolutely.
All right, Derek, any other items?
No, I did quickly look, mega would be the highest level, so super is a bit, but since you're,
Can we do super mega?
well, what I'm thinking is since we're starting with one transfer, and each level allows us to move up the ladder, so as we add tree board and others, it'll become the hyper board, you know. We'll get there eventually.
All right.
As opposed to mega.
Yeah, yeah. That's it for me.
Okay. Arlene?
Thank you. At this time, I would hope that Dr. Margaret Bania could come forward. We will be presenting some updates to the Comprehensive Plan and Land Development Code, and she'll be providing an update on the public hearing we had yesterday evening.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, council, members of the public, and staff. I do have a presentation, so do I?
Oh, Jackie's.
Wynn didn't want to do this? No, he didn't want to.
Is the microphone?
He withdrew his name.
I'll just say that the purpose of my presence here this morning is just to give you an update on where we're at with the comprehensive plan and seek your direction on land development regulation amendments. And so we, again, with just want to give you a sort of a brief background about where some of the comprehensive. Thank you. Just a brief background on where we're at with the comprehensive plan amendments. As you remember, we completed the evaluation and appraisal review in March of 2023. This EAR was based on legislation, Florida legislation from 2016 to 2022. Following that, we completed our amendments based on the evaluation and appraisal review. Those were completed in March 2024, again based on the 2016 to 2022 Florida legislation. I note that because as part of the comprehensive plan amendment process and the evaluation and appraisal review, that gets reviewed by Florida Commerce. Florida Commerce, we received their feedback. There we go. We received their feedback following the March 2024 amendments. That they would like the city to take a look at and address new legislation that took effect following the evaluation and appraisal review. That comment, it referenced Florida statute, new Florida statute that moved your comprehensive planning time horizon from a 5 and 10-year horizon to a 10 and 20-year horizon. What that meant and what that means is that the city needs to update its planning horizon to a 20-year, to reflect a 20-year planning period, bringing at that point the city's comprehensive plan into 2044, and at this point it would be 2045, excuse me. So it affects a few things with your comprehensive plan. One specifically would be your future land use map. Your future land use map was a 2040 map. And again, in the update, we would have to look at any changes or implications for that future land use map to 2045. So I'm going to go back just a second and talk about part of our work needs to be the data and analysis to support the increase in the planning period. So we're looking at updating any demographics, looking at available land and land capacity, and then we'll be working on the plan amendments to reflect that planning horizon. And that is to satisfy the state, again, to satisfy the state requirement for the new legislation. The second update I'll provide is around land development code, and just talk a little bit about our work with the city. There's been some prioritization about what updates and amendments may be needed with the land development code. And there's lots of opportunities to choose from things that need to be updated in the code. So what we've done is developed it into 3 different buckets of amendments. First would be ensuring that your land development code was consistent with state statute. That's kind of the first set of items. And then second is addressing council priorities. So some of the things that council would like to see developed and updated in the land development code. And then the third item is general maintenance. So that could be updating references, statutory references, names of agencies, those sorts of things. What the kind of direction that we're looking for is that because we do have some constraints, specifically Senate Bill 180, which does require that the city at this point cannot pass more burdensome regulations. What we'd like to do is direction on those priorities, because we may have to move among each of those 3 priorities to move some of your amendments forward. So some of the amendments, our first kind of lens and our first cut will be, is it something that would create more burdensome regulations? And maybe we move that in terms of the amount of work that we do on that item. And then, so we'll take that first cut, but then a second cut as things are drafted would be to look at and make sure that there are amendments that are not more burdensome. So that's some of the constraints that we're facing. So we would like some feedback on those 3 different buckets and whether those are things that you would like to see as a priority. And just to give you a brief kind of timeline for how we anticipate moving through the process. Council meeting, sort of you're giving us feedback on your priorities. We would be working on the comprehensive plan drafts between now and early 2026. And the same, we would be working on some of the land development regulation drafts between now and early 2026. We will have another public meeting that's more substantive, so that can communicate what some of the changes are. Again, early 2026, and looking for the first public hearing with you sometime early 2026 in season, and between probably more or less probably February, March, that time frame. And then noting, of course, in this timeline that this process will likely be over a couple years. Again, as statute changes, as the Florida legislature is making new thoughts in terms of ADUs and some of the things that are on the list, we know that this is probably going to be a couple year kind of process. I do want to emphasize that we do a lot of public input throughout the process. There is an email address associated with the process, Comp Plan 2026 at City of Bonita Springs. And so again, with this process and when we have these priorities that we're moving forward on, it's important, I think, that we ensure that the public has access to all of the information that we're drafting and developing. And I think that is it for me, just to seek your feedback on some of the things that I've talked about, questions or priorities.
So we would be asking council to confirm the priorities that Dr. Banyan just walked through. Additionally, from time to time, or should there be some new legislation that comes forward in the early 2026, we understand that the impact of that, we would also bring that back for possible amendment to scope and priority as we see the direction of the state moving.
Motion to approve, to move forward.
Second.
Okay. Motion and second. Any comments?
Just for clarification, I think for the people that are watching on television, I'm sure you haven't had a chance to do the head count from last night's public meeting, but other than council. But we've had an opportunity, I think it's important the public knows that each of us individually has met with you and staff over the past year. So this is not us blanket approving something at this meeting.
Good point, Nigel. Thank you.
All right, roll call.
Councilmember Corey.
Aye.
Councilmember Bogas.
Aye.
Councilmember Fullick.
Aye.
Councilmember Fitzpatrick.
Aye.
Mayor Gibson.
Aye.
Councilmember Carr.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Purdon.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bannon. Have a safe flight.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. At this time, we have a presentation by Community Development regarding accessory dwelling units.
Can we do a quick
Just 5
Potty
minutes.
break.
5-minute break? Okay. Thank you.
Even though I've been, I can go again.